Okay, are we live? I'm not seeing it yet. Ah, let me quickly refresh the page. No. Now maybe. Let's see. Yeah, stream's up, but we're not visible yet. Just the credits. Okay, welcome everyone. I did, but only in text, not in person. Yeah, I know you can hear me. Sneaky. Good evening, Tony. Hope you're doing fantastic.
All right, here we are, everybody. How's it going? Everyone say hi to AirCoookie. This is AirCoookie, Christian. He
Hi,
is
welcome.
the mastermind. He is the mastermind behind WLED, everyone's favorite and the best LED programming, what do you want to call it? Firmware, I guess. Certainly the best that I've found. So I'm glad you're here, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And also, I've got a few new effect videos I put up on YouTube and a new version that came out yesterday, so I hope you'll all enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. We'll check it out. So, I already asked, yes, greetings from Germany, Hurricane. Guess where AirCoookie is? He is also...
Yeah, I'm also in Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia.
I wish I can't even repeat that. I can't even say that. You say it so fast, I don't even know what that is, where it is.
Well, it's north of the Rhine, North Rhine-Westphalia. That's what the state is called.
North Rhine-Westphalia?
Yes.
Oh, I said it right. All right, cool. Well, so tell us about yourself, Christian. Tell us just some introduction stuff like, well, you told us where you are, so what else? Tell us what else about you.
Yeah, I'm 20 years old and I'm currently studying in a college, and I'm studying computer science, but also a bit more applied. So we also get into the like PCB design and 3D printing and everything basically that a maker does, and it's really fun and I enjoy it a lot.
I wish I could have done that. That's okay. I still get to do it now. I just don't actually have to go to college. I don't get graded on it, which is good because sometimes I mess up real bad. Hey, Lo, so you're right by Frank. Frank says you're right by him. Where are you,
Yeah.
Frank? All right. So you're studying. That's great. So tell us now, I want to know, how did you decide that you wanted to develop some LED control hardware or software like this?
Well, actually, I think I first had the idea in 2015 when I built my infinity mirror table. I've got a video of that coming up soon, and that had the software. It was just some sketch I downloaded from Fast LED demo sketch, something like that, and I used that, and I thought it was bad, so I wrote my better version. And first of all, I had it on an Arduino Duo, and that was connected via just normal LAN, wired Ethernet, and it wasn't too good. And then I discovered the ESP8266, and I thought I need to write a nice LED controller for that.
That was in. Oh, sorry.
It was in 2016, so 3 years ago now that I started developing WLED.
Well, it's amazing. And have you used it at all for like any projects or anything? Did you get any school credit for it? Because it's amazing.
Yes, I already did. In fact, the WLED app for Android and iOS, it was developed for a grade project last year, I believe, and I've got full grades on that.
All right. Well, you deserve it. You get full grades from us too. That's awesome. So this is your infinity mirror?
Yeah, it is.
Watch this for a second. Oh, that looks cool.
That's the new Twinkly Cat effect. It is available in WLED 086. It's the new version that just came out.
Yeah, I saw it. So Twinkle Cat. So what does it do? So I like Color Winkle a lot. Color Winkle's my favorite. This looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's derived from the Twinkle Fox effect. It is a bit different to Color Twinkles, but quite similar. And this just has a shorter attack time, so the lights come on almost instantly, and it also looks quite nice.
Awesome. Is this you? Oh, that's not you.
No, that's
that
not
was
me.
Gonna play me. I thought that was going to play your next one.
But I think I also seen that video.
Maybe it's under your likes. Is this you?
Yeah.
WLED Northern Light.
There's a slight delay.
Cool.
Yeah, the Northern Light is the correct one.
Is there something moving in there, or that's just like a ring of LEDs that's doing that?
That's just a ring. It is coupled with the lake effect, and it's quite slow with a green color palette, and just make this nice effect together with the diffuser you've got on the outside.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And then what else did you upload for us to see? I saw another one there, right?
Yeah, that was my Christmas tree last
Christmas tree from last year. Awesome.
I think this year it will be even more amazing. Maybe 50 to 100 more LEDs. And that's also using the color twinkles.
Well, you'll have to post it for us when you get it up.
Of course, I'll do that.
All right. So let's look at what else did you add with 0.86?
I improved the connection logic of the Wi-Fi, so it shouldn't drop out as frequently. And if it loses connection, it should automatically reconnect.
Oh, good. Good. By automatically reconnect, what do you mean? It'll connect to your network again, or it will AP mode?
No, it will actually reconnect to the network. But if it fails to do so, it can also open the access point. You can configure that like that.
And that's where I've gotten myself in some trouble. We were talking about that earlier. I've managed to hose myself by not understanding network stuff, and I set the static IP here. Well, this is a new one. That's not even right. That's not even the right IP address, because you can see the IP address right here. Anyways, I'll get that worked out. I think I got a plan. But this AP password, this is WLED1234, isn't it?
Yeah, but that reminds me, you actually need to set the gateway to the IP of your router. Otherwise, I think it will cause undefined behavior.
Oh, okay. So this needs to be set to the gateway of the router.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I certainly have experienced, what did you say? What did you just call it?
Inconsistent behavior or undefined behavior. That's what I call it.
Undefined behavior, yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely undefined behavior is what I'm experiencing. I'll get it worked out, but all right, cool. So let's see. What questions you guys have for Christian here?
Ah, see,
What do you guys want to know?
actually, it says it got a different client IP than what you have set as static, so something's wrong there.
Yeah, something's very wrong. Well, I was trying to make this something outside of the DHCP range because I didn't realize that was an important thing. So this board is actually working. This is one of the few that is still working, but this one's also running 0.8.6. I don't know if that made any difference or not, but anyway.
Yeah, it will now always reconnect, and it doesn't need to reboot anymore when you save the Wi-Fi information. That's quite cool.
Yeah, very good. Man, you've just done some amazing stuff. So what questions you guys have? I want to hear what you guys are experiencing with WLED, and let's pick AirCookie's brains for a little bit. How did you come up with AirCookie for a name too? I like asking that.
Well, actually, good friend of mine had the name the Ice Cookie, and we were like the cookie team, so we just called ourselves some element and then cookie. There's also Fire Cookie, she's my sister, and shout out to you, you should be watching, so.
Hello, Fire Cookie out there. Tips on compiling from source with Platform IO, somebody asks. You have any tips for compiling from source with Platform IO?
Well, it should just work. I'm not using Platform IO myself, actually. I'm still sticking to the Arduino IDE because I think that is sufficient for me, but we have the platformio.ini file, and there's all the information in there, and it should just work. But if it doesn't, then you can always open an issue, and I will take a look at why it doesn't work.
Okay. I have never played with Platform IO, so I can't do that. Tollbringer says he's experiencing poorness because he's sold out for LEDs and controllers. Sold his soul for LEDs and controllers. All right, so we got a couple of E131 questions. Can you explain the E131 tool? It looks like I need to turn it on for using X lights. I don't think you have to turn it on, do you?
No, it runs by default. You don't have to turn it on. In default, it runs in unicast mode, so you need to enter the IP of the WLED light in X lights, but you can also set it to multicast mode, and then you can sync multiple WLED lights to X lights, I believe.
And then Gwendor's here, and he says, E131 says multicast, but unicast seems to work. Is it officially supported and just not listed? I think you can choose it, right?
Yes, there's a checkbox in the settings where you can select multicast, and if you don't select it, then unicast will be selected.
And that's under sync, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So here, Gwendor, if you put this, then now it'll be using multicast instead of unicast. All right.
And also don't forget you will need to reboot, otherwise it won't apply the settings.
Okay. Somebody asked about running more than one output. Is that going to ever be possible to have like a separate pin that runs? I don't know. Is that what you mean, Brian?
Actually, that's planned, but I don't yet know how to implement it because just running one pin can be hard sometimes on ESP8266 because you need those hardware drivers like GPIO2 is the one I use most of the time. It's the serial output and that works quite reliably, but it should also be possible to drive multiple strips at the same time on different pins in the future. I'm working on that, so that might be coming soon.
That might be something to focus on for ESP32, do you think? Just since, I mean, there's going to come a time pretty soon where the 32s are going to be, what everybody's using for everything, and that should have more capacity, do you think?
That has a lot more horsepower, more RAM, more performance, so it should be possible to control like 8 strips with that, each one with 1,000 LEDs, so I hope I can like extend the software sometime so that will be possible.
Awesome. And then the question that I've had a lot of people ask me is there a limit to how many LEDs you can run on an 8266 with WLED? I saw you had something written. What's your recommendation?
My recommendation is to stick to like 600 to 700 LEDs because then you'll get a nice frame rate. If you go above that, then your frame rate will start to drop below 30 FPS or so, and then the effects won't look as smooth. But the theoretical upper limit was 1200, but I just raised it in 086 to 1500.
Awesome. And look at that. That's what Sander just asked. What's the max number of LEDs? Awesome. All right, let's see what else we got in here. So it looks now for me that I first need to. Okay, just got here. Will we be able to do more than 2 colors? Dylan says. You mean like more than a primary and a secondary color?
Yes, or in fact, tertiary, so you can use a third color. That is already partially supported, not in the UI, but via JSON it is. But only like 2 or 3 effects actually supported yet. So maybe more will come, but I think the more fun part here would be selectable color palettes. So you could like create your own color palettes and have them run in like the palette or lake effects or color twinkles, and that will also look really cool. And with that, you will be able to specify up to 16 custom colors.
Wow. And so yeah, that I was going to ask that. So you're saying that at some point, hopefully, we can put a custom palette in here and select 16 colors for that palette.
Yes.
That'll be awesome. I mean, as it is, I've got more colors and effects here than I know what to do with. So asking for more feels kind of greedy, but I mean, that's great. That's great that it's possible someday. Let's see. How many LEDs Quindor says, how many LEDs to stay around 60 FPS?
Yeah, around 500. He's correct there. 1,000. If you have 1,000 LEDs, that they will run at exactly 30 FPS. So with 500, you'll get 60.
There you go. Somebody asked about music control.
That's possible, but not natively in hardware because the ESP doesn't have a mic, of course. So there's a good software for that. It's called LEDFX. And with that, you can like control WLED via E131.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. I saw that you had mentioned that LEDFX in somewhere in your getting started or something, right?
Yeah, and also another project, audio reactive LED strip. That's also quite good. I've got a fork of that, which should run out of the box with WLED.
So it's WLEDFX. Or it's
No,
just LEDFX.
Yeah, that's just LEDFX. It is by A Hodges 9, I believe.
Yep, this is it right here. This is it right here. So you run this, and then you run this on like your computer or something, and then it has the microphone, and then through E131 it's controlling your WLED connected LEDs.
Yes,
right?
Okay. And it works quite well. High frame rate, so I can recommend it. It looks really cool.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that one. And then what was the other one that you said? Audio reactive, right?
Yeah, I believe actually LEDFX is a fork of audio reactive, which like expanded it a bit, but audio reactive is a bit simpler to set up, I believe.
He's probably got it listed on here.
The project was called Audio Reactive LED Strips, I believe.
Also, it was audio reactive LED strips. When I started typing that in, I thought that was going to take me to like some ad.
Ah, yeah.
Audio active LED strip. There we go. By Scott.
Yes.
Scott Law. Awesome. Okay. This is cool. A lot of people want that. So fantastic.
And actually, I've got a fork of that because it needs a small modification to run with WLED. So you can check out my fork of it. That will work out of the box.
Okay, great. So is your fork on here somewhere?
It's in my GitHub, so you should be able to find it there. I'll have linked to it
Right
somewhere in the
Yep.
interfaces section.
Yep, this guy here. Okay. Am I at 720p again, Sander? Dang it. Okay. All right. So, and then I wanted to say here, Frank says, sorry, I've opened up a bunch of issues. You've done great work, sir. Just wanted to say I appreciate what you've done.
And I appreciate your feature suggestions. I will implement most of them actually, because they were really good.
Awesome. I know Frank's been working on making WLED integrate into Home Assistant like a component, like gets discovered and set up like ESP Home kind of thing. Where, well, do you do home automation stuff, Christian, at all?
Actually, I'm not too big into it. I don't even have HA set up at the moment. I always planned to do it, but I never really had the time because I just focused on making WLED even more awesome. So not really actually. I'm just using WLED as it is, and I'm actually using the Philips Hue sync. So I've got Philips lights and it syncs to them, but other than that, I use no automation at all.
I don't want to take you away from WLED at all. So don't start working on Home Assistant, okay? Don't even touch it.
I can't promise
just
that.
focus. You focus on WLED. Tim's asking, who's the guest today? The guest today is AirCoookie. It's Christian. He is the creator of WLED, which is the fancy, awesome LED control firmware that we've all been going crazy over for the last, well, that I've been going crazy over for the last couple of months. Probably more people have been going crazy over it for a lot longer. Oh, awesome. What about controlling more than one section? Oh, yeah. So somebody talked about that. What can you tell us about that?
Segments. They are already in the software. You can control them over the JSON API, so you can set different parts of the strip to different colors or effects. And right now I'm working on making that possible via the UI as well. So then you'll be able to say like, okay, until LED 20, I want to have static red light, and then I want color twinkles after that, and you will be able to set that. It will be really amazing, and it should be coming up in November, I believe. So just in time for holiday season.
Awesome. We'll be excited to see that. All right, Dino says, other than the sliders, speed and intensity, it would be great to have one that controls the abruptness of the LED switching off or changing color. If you want a calming effect, you want LEDs turning on off smoother with a duration of X seconds from state A to state B. It kind of feels like you have something like that, don't you?
Yeah, I believe what he means is the transition duration. You can actually set in the settings how long it should take for the software to transition from one color to the other, or from on to off. And you can also set that via the JSON API.
So this section here, do you think, transitions? You probably can't. Can you see my screen? I don't know.
Yes, I can, but it is a bit delayed, but now you're in the correct section.
Okay. So right here, right now it's at like 3/4 of a second. So you can just make this a lot
that's
longer,
the default.
make it 5 seconds or something like that, right? 5,000 milliseconds, and then you'll do it.
Yeah.
Kind of small. Okay.
And when you're in an effect, then you just can set the speed lower. That will also slow down the LEDs, if that's what you meant.
Set the speed lower? Oh,
yeah,
you
the
mean
speed slider.
Right, okay.
It's not in the settings, it's just the normal speed setting.
Cool. That's, so many times when I've been like, oh, I wish this, LED, I wish I could do this with LEDs. I start poking around in WLED and it's there. It's not, so.
And if it's not yet there, then it's already planned.
Yeah, if it's not there, it's planned. Fantastic. Fantastic. What else we got? So let's see. Let's think about. So I sent Christian my interpretation of some of the setting stuff, and a couple things that I thought were super awesome that I didn't really realize, and that like the so you said Amazon Echo, she can do color and brightness.
Yeah, she actually can. Echo, turn off lamp. now the light behind me turned off.
Awesome. Now turn it on and make it red or something.
Echo, turn on lamp. Actually, I need to quickly switch to a solid pattern because it won't work in the color twinkles mode I have on now. So now I'm on solid orange, and now I'll go ahead and echo, set lamp to blue. And there we go.
Beautiful. 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 I thought this was really cool, what you've done here by giving us first the ability to do these macros, which aren't too hard. You've got all the information here with what the commands are, right?
Yes, I think it's documented in the wiki under the HTTP API section.
Right. So it's all here, and then when we can, I'm going to try and make this bigger since my resolution is not so great. And then plus once you've done that too, you make your little macros here, whatever you want, but then you can make it so when you say on or off to her, she, instead of just going on or off, she'll trigger specific macros, right?
Yeah, that's also possible.
I think that's,
and it's quite handy if you want her, for example, to apply a certain effect anytime you turn on the lamp, then that's a great option for that.
Yeah. And I think that was awesome. I think you set a couple hundred people's lights to blue when you did that, so that's great.
Actually.
Probably not. I don't think many people use that activation word. Besides,
I actually used it because the default activation word was annoying me from all the videos I was watching.
I had mine set for a while to computer, and that was not a good idea. It seemed fun, but try to not say that word, when you're sitting here tinkering around with stuff or talking to people. That's impossible.
I think you can also set it to Amazon, but that isn't a good idea either, I believe.
Yeah, that's not good either. You say that a lot too. All right. If you're using more than one node MCU, can there be slave and master control? Oh, yeah. So Dale, yes. So that's what, and somebody was telling you that's the sync, right? Slave and master control.
That's the sync feature, but it's not really slave and master, but the light you are using at the time, if you enable the sync, it will send that to all other lights in that group. You can create groups using different UDP ports, and that's also really handy.
And I thought it was interesting in the web UI. Let's see. If we go to the classic here, that the way you have this, right? These are the sync arrows in the classic. And this means it'll receive sync from another WLED board. And this one means it will be sending, right? And then this will receive or send.
Yes, if both arrows are lit, it will send and receive. If the bottom arrow is lit, it will only send, and if only the top arrow is lit, it will only receive.
Okay, that's pretty clever. But that's not in the when we do the mobile, right? You don't have the same
in the mobile UI, it's only toggling the sending, and I'm working on a brand new UI actually that will also be coming up shortly, and that will also have the option again to control both separately, sending and receiving.
Okay. Is there any concern of losing macros, programming, and all 16 of my custom presets by performing an OTA update to 0.8.6?
There shouldn't be actually. The way it's supposed to work is it should keep all the settings, but some people have reported an issue with boot loops when they did the update to 0.8.6. So if you want to be extra sure, I would try it on a controller first where there aren't any valuable presets on them. Okay. And also I'm working on another feature where you can export the presets so that they won't get deleted if you need to reset the board.
Of course you are, because that was my next question. With sync, it's not as big a deal, but I was thinking, if I go through and make presets that I like, I would like to then send those to other boards as well. even if I'm not syncing to those other boards. So that sounds like exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, you will be able to export a presets.json file, and you could upload it to other boards and have the presets available then.
So now this is something for me who doesn't understand things very well, right? Remember, we're just talking to a doctor here. I'm not, computer guy.
Not at all.
How do you get the JSON when you're doing a JSON command or string or something? How do you get that to WLED? Like, that's just for me, as not being a computer guy. I don't know that. How does it get there?
Well, the JSON API it just is a sub URL on HTTP, so port 80, and you can just send an HTTP post request with your JSON, and it will apply that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so what I saw, what I was able to do, if I did this win, and then whatever effect, I don't remember how it went, but anyways, effects something like that. Can you see that? So
Yeah.
So what do you do here? Do you say you do the URL and then you do JSON there? And then
what you're doing right now is the standard HTTP API. It's the same you use for macros, but for JSON you would actually use the JSON/state sub URL.
Oh, okay. So it would be JSON/state.
Yeah, you can enter that, then you will see the JSON response the module sends.
Okay. And so then after this, if I come up with whatever I want in JSON, I put that after this?
No, you need another program that can send JSON. Actually, it is the browser can't do it by default. But for example, I've got in the project files, I've got an JSON test.html file, and you can use that to send JSON commands.
JSON tested HTML file. I guess you probably have some instructions here on what to do.
Well, it's more if you want to develop your own applications that interface with WLED, like an app or another website, then you need the API. Otherwise, you don't really need to use it because you've got the normal UI.
Okay. Well, how about I just wait until you have the export and import of presets in a dummy simple format. That's what I'll do. Postman. Oh yeah, I've tried Postman.
Yeah, Postman works great. Right now you can't actually export the presets. It will be a future update. So that's coming up.
And then let's see, sending a lot of CURL commands out of Home Assistant soon, Creative says. All right. And question, using WLED, what's the longest tested length for the data wire? I don't know. Richard, I think, well, the best answer, I don't know. Do you have a good answer for that? Do you have a good answer for that, Christian?
Actually, I haven't tested much. I try to keep it as short as possible, but I have maybe used a meter or so without issues, but further than that, I have not tested it, to be honest.
I've had, I wonder if there's a difference, and I should be able to test this, if there's a difference if you're using a D1 Mini versus a Node MCU. I think there is.
I'm actually only using D1 Minis. I've got one Node MCU for testing, but for all my lights, I use D1 Minis. I think they're great. So.
And you haven't had any issues?
I've had occasional flickering on one or two lights, but I believe that is due to me not using a level shifter. So if I use one, that would probably go away. So.
Yeah, that's the answer. That's the best answer for all that, is just use a Quindor Digi Uno board, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Let's see. To the strip, you need to be careful, and with a level shifter, you should be okay for like a few meters of decent wire. And then I'm guessing if once you've passed, we talked about this a little bit in the last stream. I don't think you were here, Christian, but we were discussing that issue of, getting to that first LED, and then once you get to that first LED, then your voltage should be pretty good for a decent distance. So what you can do is you can use a blank right? Or you can basically use an LED as the level shifter. And you gave us that option here too.
Yes,
Right.
that's actually possible. I recommend you do that with a diode. Then the first LED will have a lower voltage and always receive the signal, and then you can use it as a signal booster.
And so you would use skip first LED. You'd turn this on, and then it wouldn't really, when you started counting like what you wanted your LEDs to do, it would actually skip that first one and start with the next one. The first one is really just passing the signal on and boosting the voltage, right?
Yeah, correct. That first one will just stay black then.
It says, oh, why 2 different ESP32 bin files for the new version?
For ESP32, I thought there was only one, but for 8266 there are a lot of them, because I was experimenting with different options, and currently there's an issue with the LWIP IP stack the ESP8266 uses, and I've had the issue that with LWIP1 the Home Assistant auto discovery packet wouldn't be sent, so I switched to LWIP2 by default, but that can cause boot loops sometimes in certain configurations. I'm not yet sure when it happens, but it happens sometimes.
So what's the difference here with LED pin 3, pin 4, and this APA102?
That's just the different pins. The default is GPIO2 or D4 on a D1 Mini or Node MCU, and LED pin 3 uses a different driving method called DMA. It's also quite good, and LED pin 4 is also for some users, like I believe users of the Quindor Max 1 Uno board, they would want the LED pin 4 binary, because that's one of the output pins of the board. It doesn't support the normal GPIO2 pin I use by default.
Oh, okay, good. So this would be like the Quindor version. Right
yes.
Here. Okay, we'll name it that. This is the Quindor version. Somebody said, are there plans to integrate with Google Assistant?
I would love to do that, but the problem with that is that the Google Assistant doesn't offer a local API like she who shall not be named does. So it's not actually that easy to implement it without building a cloud connection to Google servers, and that would be a lot of work, and also maybe not everyone would like that if the WLED board just connected to Google servers all the time.
Probably true. We do like local control. A lot of us do, for sure.
But actually it is possible to integrate this using IFTTT, and then you can set up an automation rule to control it using Google Assistant.
I had another question too, but I can't remember. So we'll keep
I'm sorry.
these other questions. That's okay. This is great. Somebody said, I like this. Somebody said, Fortnite gamer, can I just ask what you have done to my dad? He used to be trying new things, but now he's watching you and doing the exact same thing as you. Now he's trying to make out Christmas lights automated. Sorry, I broke your dad. That's
amazing.
Somebody, I have to tell you this. This is funny. So Rob, you guys, everybody knows Rob, right? Rob from the Hookup Rob. He should probably pop in at some point. Have you seen his videos at all before, Christian?
No, I haven't actually, but you could send me a link to his channel and I will check it out.
Yeah, he's a good buddy, and the Hookup. Anyways, he sent me a text the other day. It was really funny because here he is, because he did something. He was working on something, and he got all excited because he had fixed it, right? Whatever it was, I can't remember. But he fixed this thing, and he was all proud of himself, like a lot of us are, right? We accomplished this thing. We're all tinkerers. We're all makers. We play around and have a hard time figuring something out, and then we figure it out, right? And then we get this rush of like, yeah, I'm awesome, And so he yells out, I'm just the best. And he says to his daughter something like, your dad is a genius. And his daughter says, yeah, right. You probably just learned it from DrZzs. Which isn't true. I learned most of my stuff from him, but I think that's pretty fun.
But actually, I know that feeling when like a feature just doesn't want to work and you try everything, and after a few hours, you finally get it to work and you're so over the moon. It's the best feeling ever.
That's why we do this. I mean, that is a main reason I think why a lot of us are motivated to do this stuff. That feeling is it's euphoric, it's wonderful. So that's what we do. We keep at it, even when it breaks. All right. Any plans to improve the Philips Hue entertainment function?
Right now I only have the regular thing, so it can sync to the colors of the Philips light. Now Philips has also rolled out this entertainment feature where it can sync to your like TV or something live, but that isn't yet supported by WLED. But I think I saw a piece of code that does that, and I could add it soon.
Cool. Is that where like people are doing things where it's matching the colors on the TV or something? Is that what...
Yes, it's called Ambilight, and it is really cool. I tried it out with my Philips lights, and I think it would be a good idea to support that.
Awesome. See, will it be possible to use non-addressable RGB strips? So I'm guessing like the analog, the 4-channel.
To be honest, who wants to do that? I can understand it if you have those a few of those LEDs, but they don't look as cool. But it is actually possible. There's an issue in GitHub, and I've posted some code there you can use to make it work with the analog LEDs. But of course, you can only control the color of the entire strip, and that you can't have any cool lighting effects. So I wouldn't recommend it.
I like them getting all crazy too. All right, I want to get some cheap Wi-Fi buttons that are small for light switches and can actually use smart switches. Any Wi-Fi buttons you would recommend, Alex says.
I haven't actually used any, but actually I would just recommend using another ESP, flashing WLED on it and hooking up a button. Then you can use it with the thing to control the other WLED lights.
Oh, that reminds me too. The button function that you have is another one of my favorite features that you put in here. The ability to use single press, short press, long press, and double press. So if we hook up a button to GPIO 0, which is D3, you can do single press functions, you can do long press functions, and you can do double press functions. And that's really handy in some situations, when you want to, like a lot of our wives and kids, they just don't get the app out. They're not going to sit down and mess with Home Assistant or user interface really. And if they tell she who shall not be named, that's great. But sometimes they just want to push a button. So having a local button that's hardwired, that it doesn't depend on Wi-Fi, it doesn't depend on having your phone or having apps connect, or you don't have to wait for it or anything. You just push the button, it does what you ask it to do. That's wonderful. I love that.
That's one of the first features I added, I believe, in WLED 03 all the way 3 years ago, because it was very important to me as well.
Yeah. I haven't done it enough. I've done it some, but I haven't done it enough. I need to keep doing more. And Frank, yes, the different Frank without a C. there is an ESP32 version as well. Yep. See, just to ask about Quindor's board or a D1 Mini, or can we not control 5-meter roll of RGBs? Not sure, Dale. Not sure what you mean. You can a D1 Mini can control a 5-meter roll of RGBs. You just can't go between the board, between the D1 Mini and the first LED. It can't be 5 meters, or you won't get a data signal by the time you get to the board. The wires will just chew it up with resistance. So you need something closer. So put the D1 Mini right where the strip starts, or use Quindor's board, or a logic level shifter, or skip the first LED.
Yeah, I would say the same. Also, but just a 5-meter roll of WS2812B should work fine. The LED quantity is low enough for it to be able to work without any issues.
Been bending digital WLED to control analog strips is kind of a sideways option. Oh, this with Quindor's, yeah. Or just use Quindor. Quindor has analog LED boards that work well.
Yeah, and I believe I also saw some that use WS 2811 chip, and then it has some transistors, so you can hook it up to analog strips as well, without making modifications to WLED itself, and just use this board. That will also work.
Yeah.
But
then Frank's-
just using Windows board will be best.
Yeah, just get a Quindor board. And then Frank says for Google Home, once we integrate with Home Assistant, then you can use Google Home connection to Home Assistant as a media player, right? And so answering that question a few minutes back about Google Home.
Yes, with Home Assistant it should be the most easy. Like with IFTTT, it still is easy, but you need to like have a port forwarding in your router for the WLED, so it is accessible from the internet, and that is a bit of work. So using Home Assistant, if you have that option, it's the easiest way, I believe.
So let's see, Devers Dreamweavers. Do you know of a scan or ArtNet 2 data stream copier? Wondering if effects could be exported from a program like Madrix into WLED. I have a large library of effects built with Madrix. That sounds complicated.
Oh, actually, I should keep that in mind. That sounds cool. Well,
Right.
with SACN, that's just another name for
E131, right?
Yeah, it's just another name for that. So that's supported, but I don't really know what they mean with a stream copier. I don't believe that's supported right now.
That's a cool concept if that's something that can happen. I don't know. That's interesting. Let's see. Suggestions on Flash Node MCU when trying to flash it. The COM number is not popping up. Tried Mac and Windows. New to all of this. You know what, Connor? My guess is this is going to sound simple. It's very possible that it's the cord, the actual USB cord that you're using. Some of them only do power. They don't have the two transmit receive wires in them. So try a different wire, and if that's not it, then it's probably a driver issue. And your whatever you're using, your D1 Mini or Node MCU needs it shouldn't need it. Most of the time it's built into whatever operating system you're using, but you probably have you need a driver that you don't have. So you'll have to look at whatever the chip number is on your board and do some Google searching and install that driver. But I would honestly check your cord. Hey, there's Rob the hookup. AirCookie's here. That's right.
Hi.
We were just talking about you, Rob. Let's see. I saw another good question up here about. Tell me more about the current MQTT topics and Home Assistant integration. Ton says, so there are a few different examples of how you can import stuff with MQTT into Home Assistant from WLED. It does do auto discovery pretty well, but if that doesn't do it, I have my examples, but the integration, like the full-on integration, is something that Frank's been working on for just the last few days, but I don't think he's slept. I think he's just been working on that and nothing else, because every time I chat with him, it's what he's working on again. But the state topics or the topics or whatever you want them to be here. He's got defaults for the device, which it'll give you a random name here if you don't put something in, but it's always WLED / and then whatever you decide for this particular device. But then you can set groups as well, so you can do all, or you could even do subgroups if you just put a different word in here. So I'm gonna check my Discord chat for just a second here. Got some. That means I'm just going to have to move AirCookie a little bit. Here's some cool info using WLED on a Sonoff Basic. Couldn't post on the chat. Oh, cool. Also might be a good idea to ask AirCookie to chat about using a Sonoff Basic, having the relay switching an external power supply. So I guess go ahead.
Yeah, you can use WLED on a Sonoff Basic, just flash it, and you can use the built-in relay to turn on and off the power to the LEDs, because if you have a lot of LEDs, say over 1,000 or so, they each draw a milliamp of current, even when they're off. So it might be a good idea to switch them off completely if you are concerned about energy usage. So that is a good option. One thing to note about the Sonoff is that it has very little integrated flash. I don't know if it's 512 kilobytes or a megabyte, but that could get tight sometime soon, because having the 4 megabytes of the normal Node MCU is really the way to go.
Yeah, I think that so. It is a good idea to have that relay. It's nice to be able, especially if it's out of the way, like if your controller is going to be someplace that you can't reach and you don't want to, have to toggle a breaker to be able to power it down and power it back on if for whatever reason you needed to do that. So that's a nice thing to have. But yeah, I think you're really right about the limit there. I mean, right now you're still keeping WLED code pretty small, right? It's 512. Is that about where you've got it? The size
Yeah, I'm running into size constraints on the 512 board. That's correct. Starting with WLED 086, it is a bit hard to get it all under the hood, and I have to disable some interfaces. So, for example, Blink and Hue-Sync will not work with that board. And I really recommend everyone to use Node MCU or Wemos D1, because those have sufficient flash for years.
Yeah, you got like 4 megabytes on those, so you're not going to run out. Let's see, Frank. This is Frank's little video of the current state of his experimental WLED integration into Home Assistant. So he's got it. He's got the estimated current, the uptime. There's all the effects, brightness, on off, nightlight timer, sync. Oh, receive sync, send sync. Oh, Frank, awesome, man. Awesome. Great work. So when do we get to play with it? When the rest of us get to play with it, Frank? Would an MCU be able to handle an element like Super in B? I don't know what that means, Mo. Would an MCU be able to handle an element like Super in B? I don't know.
Super NB, never heard of that either. Quickly Googling it.
It's good using D1 Mini Pro because I have antennas set up, LED strips outside. Yeah, I have a couple spots where I thought I probably should have used something that had like a Pro, something that had an antenna. Is there any way to hook an antenna to a D1 Mini?
I don't believe so. It doesn't have a port for that, and you could like solder something onto it, but I don't think it would have that much improvement over just using stock. If you are concerned with like range, you should really buy the Pro board with the antenna. That would be better then in that case.
Yeah. WLED uses GPIO 12 anyway, so being able to switch a relay on any Node MCU or D1 Mini. So how does WLED use GPIO 12? Where do you, so if you had it on a Sonoff, how do you switch the relay?
In a Sonoff, the relay is actually connected to GPIO 12 of the ESP, so it will work out of the box and just do it every time. If you have a normal Node MCU, you can just hook up a relay to GPIO 11 and it will be GPIO 12, and it will behave the same way as the Sonoff would.
Oh, okay. Sweet. It's got no Wi-Fi. When I use MUC board easy, it's got no Wi-Fi. All right. Well, what else? What else do you guys want to know about from AirCoookie? We got him here. Pick his brain. Question, is there something like WLED that would be good for cycling colors on Zigbee lights? Oh, and that's what somebody else asked. Somebody asked, would it work on like a Tuya bulb?
Well, if it uses an ESP8266, I guess you could port like whatever it uses to control the integrated LEDs and write an adapter for that in one of the WLED files. It's called npbwrapper.h, and in that file you could like build a connection to that LED component, and then it should be able to run on that bulb.
It would probably depend what I don't know. Do they all use the same pin for LEDs? If they're like one of those built-in bulbs, do they always use GPIO2 or whatever?
No, they don't. I'm not sure what they use, but it won't work out of the box. We'd need to write an adapter for the bulb to work, actually. Right now, only the WS lights are supported, so like the 2811s or SK6812 or WS2812B. All those.
Do you use any of those? The SK, the ones with the white strip as well?
Yeah, I actually do. They work really well, and they are good if you need a bit more light, if you actually want to use it not only for a mood light, but also for general illumination.
Yeah. As somebody was saying that they wanted to do some under cabinet lighting, like in their kitchen. And I think that would be a good use for that, right? Because there's going to be times when you just want white light under there and you don't want RGB combined white light because it just doesn't look as good and you get sometimes funky shadows and things. But if you had that would be the time to use the ones that have the white LED in them as well.
Actually, the WLED default color is orange because I thought that was the nicest looking color of all of them, so I set that as the default. But with the white LEDs, the white looks really, really nice, and you can really use it for lighting. And with the normal RGB ones, the white just looks awful. You can't use it for anything. That's just what I think. So if you need white, then I would invest in the RGB W strips.
Yeah, for sure. Is it possible to send a list of colors, each LED with a hex color? Oh boy. Like each separate LED, like, and tell it what color you want each LED to be?
That's not yet possible via the JSON API or the HTTP API, but it's possible via UDP. So if you've got a program, you can there's a documentation in the wiki how you can do that, and then you can set every single pixel to a different color from outside.
There you go. And somebody asked, what RGB strips do you recommend? What are there's SK68, 6812 or 6821 or
6812, yes, that are the ones that could support RGBW. There are also some that only support RGB, so you have to look out for that, but they are readily available and not that much more expensive than regular WS2812.
Well, Amazon doesn't have them. Oh, not 28, silly. So there you go. So then you can just kind of Altove. These guys sell a lot of LEDs on Amazon for what it's worth, but they would be something like these, right?
Yeah, those look about right.
Yeah.
Actually, no, those are 2812Bs, but...
Oh, there are 2812Bs. They tricked me. 2812B, 28. Maybe they don't have any on here. Oh, yes, this one is. Only the very first one, but they've got to have other. I guess this is going to be pretty dense. There's a lot of LEDs on that strip there, but I guess if you're going under the cabinet or something for lighting, it's probably different.
They also sell them with 30 and 60 LEDs per meter, so there's no problem there. And also one thing to note, they sell them in 3 different white color tones. There's warm white, natural white, and cold white. I think warm white looks the most relaxing if you just use them in the evening or something. But if you use them in a workplace or in the kitchen, then maybe natural white would be more appropriate for that.
Okay. Something more like this. 34 LEDs per. Anyways, this is the number. So 6812. SK6812 for everybody that's out there. BFT Lighting and AliExpress has them all. That's BTF. There you go. And they probably have a whole store. Yeah, there you go. This is going to be a big, ugly link. Probably won't even let me post it. No, it won't. You guys can find it. Okay, what's the difference between 2812s and SK? So T&J, it's really the addition of a white LED as well. So the 28, let's see if they show it on here anywhere. The 2812s are just have the RGB LED, or a red, a green, and a blue. But then the SK, the 6812s have they have that, and then next to it or right by it, they have a white LED as well. Yeah, and Rob's got a great video about all those different kinds of LEDs and explaining them and going through the whole deal. Oops.
And also, that's not first-hand experience by me, but I have also heard that the SK6812s are more robust when it comes to like the whole level shifter signal stuff. So they are more likely to work out of the box with a normal node MCU than the stock WS2812 would.
There you go. That's good reason too. I can't find Rob's.
I can't believe it. You wrote my name with 2 O. Everyone does that. I'm normally written with 3 O.
Somebody in the chat did, or I did?
You did in the video title.
Oh, I did it right?
No, you did it wrong.
It's supposed to have 3?
It's supposed to have 3. That's the special thing about it.
Oh, dang it. I pay attention to those
But
details.
it's hard to notice. I give you that. It's hard to notice.
Is that what I did? I messed up that. Yes,
like there's also this trick, if you have an essay and you would like to extend the word count, you can repeat the word D and nobody will notice because they will just read past it.
There you go. You had one job. Get the name right. Don't mess with our cookies. Is AirCoookie from Germany? Yes, Nick, he is. He is in, hold on.
North Rhine-Westphalia.
I couldn't remember if it was West Rhine or North Rhine, Westphalia or Northphalia. North Rhine-Westphalia. I've heard it now a few times. I'm going to be able to say it really fast. Hookup says, I know you're here about WLED, but your Alexa integration is absolutely the best. Oh, so you is this something else you worked on?
Yeah, actually, the Alexa, I said it. The integration is also a library, and so you can download that and use it in your own Arduino project. It's called Alexa.
And that's this. That's this right
here.
here.
That's my library for that.
So this is a library that you made for connecting to She Who Shall Not Be Named. And so you can, if you got an Arduino project like Rob or some of these other guys who know how to do that kind of stuff, can use this, and it's got Rob's endorsement. So that's pretty good.
And it's also what WLED uses, so you know that it will probably work fine.
ESP Alexa is way better than all other libraries. It supports brightness and color and two-way communication.
Hold up, I quickly need to let my cat out of the room.
Oh, good idea. You don't want to be cleaning up any cat messes. Opinions on what's the best shop between AliExpress, Banggood, GearBest, and Wish for LEDs, boards, accessories? AliExpress. You know, Banggood's treated me well. They give me lots of free stuff, but I think the best selection of LED stuff is, and the best prices is AliExpress.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, that was fast. What is the password? I'm trying WLED1234 and it's not working. I don't know, Chris. Check. That's the password. That's the AP password. Any reason why that wouldn't work?
Actually, I don't have an idea why that wouldn't work. Maybe you could try resetting the entire flash of the board again, and then it should restore the default password. Or if you have a button connected or a Node MCU, then you could press that for 6 seconds and it will restore the password. And if it doesn't work by then there must be a bug somewhere, but try that first.
Yeah, and make sure you don't have cap locks or something silly like that. Probably already checked that, but common things being common, we all make silly mistakes. Some cell phones capitalize the first letter without you knowing. I wonder if that's been... No, that hasn't been what happened to me. What happened to me was that I just totally confused the heck out of all my stuff. Okay. Just installed an RGBW strip with the SK12 chip and WLED, and it turns on every now and then. How can I solve this? Oh, it just turns randomly on?
Oh, if that happens, then it is probably like crashing and restarting. You can like stop it from auto turning on by unchecking the turn on at boot checkmark in the LED settings, but we need to take a look there. It shouldn't do that by itself without any external source.
Yeah, here's the checkbox he's talking about right here. Turn on LEDs after power up or reset. You turn that off, and then when it resets, which it sounds like it's doing, then that won't be a problem. Check your power supply. Make sure you've got a big enough power supply. If it's too weak, it could be dropping below what the Node MCU needs to work. If the LEDs are drawing too much, that's a guess. The link to the cheapest WLED strips to buy. Alex, you got to just shop around. I think. Do you have a recommendation?
I have a recommendation, which is to always use AliExpress. They are usually the cheapest, but other than that, just look around for the cheapest price per meter you can find and buy that. Yeah. Usually BTF lighting is a good bet, but there might be cheaper ones, but they usually only differ by a few cents, so it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, there's a lot of different sellers on AliExpress that all sell the same things, and the prices vary. I've been surprised sometimes. I've looked for LEDs and I've seen them, $12 a strip, and then a few months later they're $7 or $8 a strip. So I guess just just depends on how big their stock is and how much they want to get rid of, I suppose. Sets up money grubbing affiliate link. Me. Wait for 11.11 on AliExpress. What's that? Oh, is that a sale? 11.11 is a sale on AliExpress? Yeah,
that's a special sale. The Asians have it with 11.11. It's called Singles Day actually, and you can get quite good deals on that day.
Wait, is it Singles Day like we have Valentine's Day? Like, is the day where everybody's like...
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of Valentine's Day. So.
Everybody's the opposite of Valentine's Day. It's like breaking up day. Good reason to spend some money on yourself on AliExpress. All right.
To get over your breakup.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's do it. Okay, couldn't remember the macro string on the original ESP, so I fired it up on the desk to look up the string. Okay, cool. I'm trying an old question again. Okay, is it possible to switch off every other LED? So out of my 50 LEDs, I want to use 25 of them. The other 25 are turned off. FX mode should run on the remaining. What do you think about that?
That should be possible with a specific effect that would be running 2, I believe. And then you can set the speed to the lowest and set the intensity so that one LED is off and the next is on. But of course you can't use other effects with that. So if you want to use all effects, then that won't really be an option to have one LED off and the next one on, an alternating pattern.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't think so. Not without getting inside the... I don't even know if you could do it inside the code. Probably could. You can do pretty much anything, but yeah, certainly not out of the box.
But if you want to do it to save power, then I would just suggest limiting the brightness a bit. Then you will get the same effect, but have all your LEDs on still.
Yeah. So Gunnar, what do you just want them? You want them to be further apart? Is it for power, or is it for the length, or what's the function that you're trying to get, or the purpose? And maybe we can think of another way you can get your purpose accomplished without skipping every other LED, because skipping every other LED and still showing effects is probably not going to be feasible. All right, got the tombstone out in the yard, and for some reason it run for a bit and then shut off. Couldn't figure it out. Then it would go right back on. Ends up my prototype board was set to sync and it was set to off. Oh, yeah. That is dangerous. You got to watch out for that. That sync button can get you in trouble if you don't, if you're not careful. You don't know that you've got the sync button on and you mean to turn. I've done that where I've turned on every light and when I was trying to just turn on the one I was playing with here. Can you say hi to me on air? Loving your videos. Twisted Steel 80. Hello, Twisted Steel 80.
Hi.
Thanks for watching. Hi. Will it be possible to control a second strip from one controller? We talked about that a little bit, Claude, probably early on. Say it again. Christian,
Yeah,
tell him what.
it might be soon, but first I'm prioritizing segment support and presets improvements, and after that, maybe I can add that multiple strips are supported per controller.
So now, Gunnar, back to your question about skipping every other LED. So how far apart are you trying to get them? There does seem to be, there's like a gap in the availability of some things, because we can do, we have the strips, the LED strips, and they can be right next to each other. They can get them spaced out. The furthest though that they space out is like 30 LEDs per meter. And then the next step that I know of is those bulb ones that are 2811s in the bulbs, and those are, I don't know what that is in centimeters, but they're probably 4 or 5 centimeters apart. So that's a big gap between 30 in a meter and like 12 in a meter.
Also, they are nicely diffused, so I have come to prefer them over the normal strip ones. They really look nice, and they've got like 5 or 6 centimeters between them, between each bulb. So that's a bit more space than with the 30 per centimeter that you get on the strips.
Yeah, I certainly like them. I like them for things like your Christmas tree. That's the ones I have on the outside of the house and stuff. You could look, Gunnar. There might be. I know there are some others that aren't quite. They're not quite the bulbs that hang down. They're flat. It's almost like it's a strip, and then it's one single LED off of the strip, and then it's then some wire, and then another LED, and then some wire and another LED, and I think they're even waterproof. You'd have to pixel bullet nodes. That's what it is. Just turning down the brightness. Yeah.
I actually believe I saw some on AliExpress that have the wire in between. I think that's what you mean. I also got a roll of them. They are actually quite cool. Each LED is about, I guess, 15 centimeters or so apart, so quite far. So that could be an option for you.
There you go. That may be what you're looking for. Something like this, right? Oh boy, thank you. Can I kiss? And then you close my. Thank you. Sorry, I don't have.
Yeah,
sorry, I don't have a
cupcake
correct. To share with everybody.
Like that.
I just got a cupcake delivered. Yeah, so maybe something like that, Gunnar. Why don't you check those out? This is, I don't know what you would call these exactly, and I don't know if it'll let me. These links are so long. But anyways, if you just search what I just searched for, or search for module heatsink boards, something like this. I don't know. This might not be as far apart as what you're looking for, but something like that.
It's certainly a lot further apart than the 30 LED per meter ones, the standard ones.
Yeah. And you may be able to find some others. So these are the ones we were talking about, and these ones are 13, 15 centimeters apart. Maybe there's some more here that are even different lengths. So there are options, but this is probably what you want. It's probably something like that. WWA had a good WAF factor here. What's WWA? Quindor, what do you mean?
WWA is another like type of LED where instead of RGB you have warm white, cold white, and amber, and you can use it to create different color tones of white. It is supported by WLED, but not explicitly, so you won't have the option in the UI. So like I guess red will be amber, and blue will be cold white, and green will be warm white. So you have to like do that some thinking, but it will work. Just like
awesome.
the RGB ones.
Awesome. That is cool. Okay. Okay. Dawson has a splinter, so she came to get the tweezers. Oh, cool. All right. Really wanted to try out some of those pixel floodlights with WLED. Anybody else use them? Pixel floodlights. Anybody seen anything like that?
That sounds super interesting, actually. I haven't seen it yet, but I would be happy to learn more.
Would you close that door, baby? They left the door open and then they're hollering at each other. RGB floodlights. Oh, like this? Oh, no, these are just one color. Shoot us a link there, Curtis, if you got them. If you've seen them. She's a princess today, yes. Yeah, she's wearing a princess dress. Wish I could buy an addressable net light for the bushes. Oh, you know what? That's a good. Yeah, Cassidy, I see what you're saying. They don't make those in nets that are addressable, do they? I guess you have to make your own.
That would be amazing if they did that. I would buy that, but I think you can make them quite easily yourself using the 2811 ones. Then you can just attach them to each other and it should form a net.
Yeah, you'd almost have to lay it out. So you do that, and then you just you'd have to. Wouldn't it be fun if you could do that and then lay it out like a matrix, so that in like X lights on your bushes, it could do a face or it could do different motions or whatever.
Yeah, that will work. You just tie them together using strings, and then like always diagonally or in a snake pattern, and then you can set them up in X lights, and that will work.
Yeah. ETA on segmentation feature.
I already mentioned that. I guess it will be within the next month. I'll do my best to finish it as quickly as possible.
Crack the whip on you, Christian. Get to work. Speaking of, I know you won't. You probably won't promote this yourself, but I did notice that in some of this stuff here, we all love our free stuff, but boy, we sure appreciate the work that you do. And here is a way to send Christian buy him a Coke or buy him a beer. Are you old enough to drink beer in Germany at 20?
Yeah, actually, you are. I think the US is the only country where you have to be 21 to drink.
Is that right?
In Germany, you can actually drink from the age of 16, but I'm not actually drinking, so I'm a non-alcoholic.
Non-alcoholic? Me too.
Yes. But it's very unusual for Germans, actually. We like to drink beer all the time, but not me.
Sorry, I had to shut the door. I could hear. I don't know if you guys could hear them all screaming, but I certainly could. Oh man! All right, let's get a few more things here. How long have we been doing this? Not too long, right? What time is it there? Is it getting late? You got class?
No, it's not that late. It's 8 p.m. here right now, so I still got time.
Oh, good. Let's keep on. Oh yeah, somebody asked this. Victor asked, makes the run like the Knight Rider, red and blue LED. We have any effects? There is an effect like that, right? What is it called? Scan, is it?
Scan, or maybe Lighthouse could be it. One of those.
I should probably hook up some LEDs here so I can.
Maybe I can get it to run on the lamp behind me. Let's see. Where are you?
I love the another thing to mention that we haven't yet is the you did the current estimations based on number of LEDs. That's really helpful. Hi, sweet girl. Hey, will you go out? You got it.
Yeah, now the scan is running on the lamp behind me.
So it goes up and back down. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can control how fast it dims back down. The fading, you can control it using the intensity slider.
And Quindor says, "Am I still working on a video of each effect?" I've filmed twice, and the problem so far has been every time I do it, I think, I realize, I didn't change the intensity on that one, or I didn't change the colors on that one, and so it can be different. So I'm still planning on it, but what I think would be probably the way to do it be the best way to do it would be when we have this, and this might be I can contribute this because I don't get to contribute very much because I'm not programming savvy. But let's see, we lost it now. When we have the list of effects here in your Wiki page.
Speaking of which, I need to update that list. It still is from WLED 084 or something, so I've made a few changes and I need to update it.
Yeah. Well, see, these are the kinds of things that, I think we get our little community here. You got a good following here. We can parse out some of this work now that you've made it.
I actually recently made it editable, so you can contribute and if you have something cool you would like to contribute to the documentation, you can just make an edit to the wiki yourself.
Okay, so there you go, pals and gals. Help AirCoookie lighten the load, and when you see something like this that we can take care of by adding the effects, we know what they are and we can describe them. We can do that. What I would like to do here too is add just a little GIF. Just a couple seconds of, some example of what each one kind of looks like. And I'm, like I said, like Quindor was asking, I want to do that, and I filmed it twice, but it's hard to get the LEDs to look good, and then, and there's a lot. It takes a lot. So at some point we'll get something in there.
Yeah, I could imagine also with the color balance and so that it's not blown out. With the webcam, you can see I have to tone my lamp down a bit, otherwise it would get blown out and just look white. So that's something to look out for when you want to film those things.
Steven says it's GIF, not GIF. GIF, not GIF. I don't know. I still don't know which one. That doesn't help, Steven. Doesn't help. And then Will, which is he's impersonating his. I think, is it your father-in-law? Is Bruce your father-in-law? I can't remember now, or your dad? I can't remember. Anyways, Will, he's confused between effects and palettes.
Well, effects are the modes that you have for lighting, so each one does something totally different, and palettes are just for the color, so they change what color the effect is displayed in.
So that's the simple. The effects are the dancing, what the lights do, and some of them have colors that are fixed. But a lot of them, you can change the colors that go along with the effect. And you can do that either with your primary and secondary colors, or you can make a lot of those changes with palettes. And did you make up those palettes, or were those part of one of the libraries that you're using for WLED already?
Some of them I made myself, but others I copied mainly from Mark Kriegsmann. He's the one, the mastermind behind the Fast LED library, and he also had a sketch with a few awesome palettes in it, and I copied some from him too. So
somebody. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, some are from me, some are from other libraries.
Okay. And didn't something bad happen to the Fast LED guy? Or is he still? Am I thinking wrong? I thought I heard something happened and he wasn't.
Yeah, I believe he had a personal issue some time ago, and he's still recovering from that. But he is, in fact, still developing Fast LED, so we will see new updates.
Okay, great. And then somebody just said you should to look at an ND filter. I should do this because then you could have maybe better pictures of LEDs. That would be a good idea. Maybe that's how Quindor, is that how you make them so nice, Quindor? Because Quindor does some nice LED pictures. You should do it, Quindor. You can if you want to.
Yeah, ND filters are a good option, but also you could just manually lower the exposure of the camera because it will auto-expose to high because the LEDs are only very small part of the image. So it will always be overexposed, but if you can underexpose it manually, then you'll get a way better look.
Let's see. Probably easier to write the simulator than filming the real light. So that might be true. Photochromax. Maybe that's something you can do. You're an expert in that. Photochrome. Use mirrorless camera and works with exposure and settings. Okay. Could the MSGEQ7 chip be used for music effects?
Yeah, it could be. You can attach it to the Node MCU together with a microphone, and it will work, but it's a little complicated, and you will need to write your own code to interface with WLED.
Okay, I'm hooking up some LEDs here while you can keep fielding questions there. I poke around here a little bit. Okay, I think I got that there.
Paul is asking if there are tips to find out the color order of the 4-channel RGBW strips. Well, with those, it's quite easy because it's always almost GRBW. So in most cases, you won't have to change anything, but there are also some who have RGBW order. But those two are the only ones you will need to consider because I haven't seen BRGW color order strips or something like that yet. So you only have those two options and need to see which one is the correct one.
And is that a manufacturer thing that some just decide they're going to change the order?
Yeah, they just do whatever they want, basically. It's great that they all adhere to the same protocol in principle, but the color order depends on the manufacturer. For example, the 2811s always use RGB, while the 2812s mostly use GRB.
And I've thought, I haven't had this happen yet, but I have mixed different manufacturers. And it's been so far lucky. I've never had like one strip that was RGB plugged into another strip that was BRG or something. That would be an unpleasant surprise. You get
Yeah,
that
if
up on
that
the house.
happened, that would be an issue indeed because you can only set the color order globally and not for different parts of the strip. And also something to look out for, you should always buy all LEDs of one installation from one supplier because they also have slight differences in color rendering. So it could look slightly more orange on one manufacturer than the other. So it makes sense to have all of them from one source.
True that. So a couple questions here about integrating other sensors, like temperature and humidity and stuff like that, or maybe light. Even a light sensor would be probably useful.
I've always said that it was not in the scope of WLED, that was just intended as a lighting solution, and that I wouldn't support sensors. But recently, someone, I think it was even Quinder, he opened an issue asking for sensor support, and I'm thinking about building some sort of framework where you can interface your own sensors with WLED and have them do amazing stuff, or even just expose them to MQTT so you can read them out with Home Assistant or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was him. SK2 would be lighting package lists them as RGBW 6000K. So 6000K, that's referring to what shade of white, correct?
Yes, 6000K is quite cold white, so it will look like daylight, and it's not that pleasant to the eyes, but for a work environment, it isn't that bad.
Is that more of the blue, like the white, so it's bluish versus more of the yellow?
Quite bluish, and warm white is more yellowish, and natural white is somewhere in between.
And so the colder, the higher the number there, the 6000K, then the more cold it is, and the little lower numbers are warmer.
Yes, for example, the orange I have most of my lights set to is around 20,000K, and normal light bulbs are usually 20,700K. Nee, 2,700K. 20,000 would be a bit blue.
So this is a good question. Lynn's asking about the cycle preset times when you set your, oh boy, now this doesn't want to come up. I wonder what happened. Oh, I unplugged it. That's why. We'll change that in a minute. The cycle preset times, I really thought that was in minutes. But that's in seconds, right? You've got a slider bar there for adjusting the let's see, I'll turn it on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that is in seconds, but I think it could make sense to set a longer delay between cycling presets. So I think I will support it in the future. Oh, you've got smart plugs for everything in the room? That's really
Pretty
amazing. I
much.
wish I had that too.
Pretty much. It's pretty nice to be able to tell, I use Google Home for some of these things because I'm usually listening to music on She Who Shall Not Be Named. So telling her to turn on the soldering iron or the hot glue gun or the keyboard LEDs, those are. But anyways, I was trying to turn on some LEDs here, but I think what I'll just do is just power that board back up separately. Something's not right, and I hate troubleshooting things. Even though I do it all the time, I hate troubleshooting things live like this.
Yeah, you mostly also you will need a lot longer than you initially expect, and it may be getting a bit boring after some time. So
Right.
troubleshooting is not the most fun thing, but it needs to be done.
It does need to be done. That's the fun thing about doing things live. It was refreshing to see Frank on his stream the other day having those kinds of feelings like, oh, I should not be doing this live, but I'm doing it. And I feel that way a lot. Like, I should not today at all, really, but often in other times. I'm like, oh, I should not be doing this live, but I am. So I think what he was referring to is these durations here, the preset durations. Is there a way to make this longer so that you could have, the cycle through the presets be in minutes instead of in seconds or something? Or what was the purpose, or what do you think about that?
I actually implemented the feature quite a while back, but I have intended it for like light shows, so you always switch to the next preset after a few seconds. I'm quickly looking up what the maximum supported currently is, but I think it's indeed only around a minute, so I might do some work on making that a bit longer. I'm taking a look quickly how long I support. I do believe it's only 65 seconds though. Quickly need to look it up. Yeah, so 65 seconds is currently the maximum, but I think it would make sense to increase that if you only want the effect to change every 5 minutes or so. I think that would make sense.
I second that. I think that would be fun if that's not a bad thing for you to have to do.
No, I always want to improve the software, so
Put that on the list.
A great suggestion.
So let's see. There was a couple of questions here. So somebody said about if one light shuts off. TJ, if one of the LEDs is not working, the following LED will stop. Yes, with most of these WS2812s or 2811s, yes, it will. There are the 15s now, WS2815s, and Rob talks about this in his video. They have a backup data channel, and that's what it's for, really. Is so if the one LED goes out, the data keeps going, keeps on trucking, and it doesn't miss a beat. Other than that one LED, I had a snafu, little blue smoke incident, where I connected some 5-volt LEDs to 12 volts.
I did that too. I did that too.
Did it turn out well for you? It didn't turn out well for me.
Didn't turn out well for my LEDs, at least.
Yeah, and I thought that I had destroyed the whole strip, but I noticed that there were a few LEDs that were coming on. And so what I did was I started from, I don't remember how, but anyways, I cut it into segments, and I would, and I like the first couple of LEDs were fried. So I cut those off, and then I tested it, and then like 10 of them worked, and then it went off again. So I cut those 10, and then I would go to the next LED and see, did that work? No, that one's dead. That one's dead. Okay, this one works, and then like 5 more work. Okay, so cut those dead ones off. And so I ended up sparing at least half of the strip, which probably saved me like $3, but it probably took me an hour. But it was fun, and it did prove to me at least that because one LED is dead doesn't mean the whole LED strip is trash. You can still salvage a lot of it potentially. But yeah, the way that they are hooked up for the WS2812s, they do. If the data hits a bad LED, it's done. Unless you go with the 15s. And then Quindor points out here too that the 15s are also 12 volts, which means you get a lot longer runs without voltage drop. So the 15s are Very nice. Definitely very nice. You'll pay, gosh, more than twice what you pay for a strip of 2812s. Almost 3 times as much, I think, last time I looked. But for the features that they definitely have some good advantages, some good perks.
There are also the 2813s, I believe. They also have the backup feature and they run with 5 volts, but I would also recommend the 2815s because 12 volts makes it easier to power long runs if you have a lot of LEDs, because the voltage drop won't be so bad.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about the 13s. 13s have the backup, but they're 5 volts, not the 12. All right. Can you give us a brief explanation on how the maximum current works to restrict power? If LEDs require some wattage, don't they just draw it from the power supply without asking the board?
Yes,
LEDs,
that's
fine.
true. I'm not actually measuring the current. There would be no way to do that without an external sensor. But since those LEDs are all quite the same, you can pretty roughly estimate how much current they would draw. And then I'm doing a calculation in code to figure out how much it is. It's accurate to about 10%, and it will then limit the current so it won't overshoot your power supply.
So this is really real genius here. I thought this was a really, really smart thing to do, and I'm really glad you did it. And even though I turned it off here, you can see on this. I was trying to test. I was doing a test to see how much current I could actually get to draw through this without causing problems. And anyways, but the point is, it's gonna, in this particular case, Dino, the LEDs, how am I going to say this? What they are asking for as far as current goes is based on what the board's telling them. So if the board tells them to be 50% brightness at just green, then they're only going to draw a little bit of current. If it's saying be 100% brightness at all 3 colors, then it's going to draw the maximum current. And so what he's done here is he says if you put in a certain number of LEDs here, and then you basically, more than anything, you put in here what your power supply maximum is, or what your wiring, whatever your weakest point is, probably your power supply, then you put that in here, and it will, the board then, he's got this software calculation in there where it will say, okay, because you only have a 2 amp power supply, even though you have 250 LEDs, you only have a 2 amp power supply, so I'm never going to let the brightness go above whatever it's calculated to be, right? And does that change based on the effect? Like if you put them all on white, well, then it dropped the brightness down. But then if you put them on an effect where it's flickering and stuff, then will it let the brightness go higher? But
yes,
it'll
of
still
course,
keep that same current?
It will add up the brightness of each individual LED, so it will always be perfectly aligned with the current effect. And you will get the maximum brightness that's possible with your power supply.
That's genius. You need like LED Nobel Prize for that right there. That is awesome. Because, we've had discussions about, do you need a fuse and things? And if with this, you can really take care of that. What are you using for the calculation of current draw per LED? Are you using the 0.06 amps per, or what are you doing?
Yes, I'm just using the estimation that one LED at full white will use 50 milliamps, and based on that, I'm doing the calculation.
50. Okay, great. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you for doing that. Just tuned in. WLED is awesome. Yes, it is. SK6812 strips over the desk for a year, and finally have a program to operate them reliably with Home Assistant. Yay! AirCoookie is indeed a genius. He sure is.
Also, I just saw the question. The power calculation with 12 volts, that is not yet really supported. I really need to add that because 12 volt strips are getting more popular. So I think I should support it as well.
Felipe, do WS2811 bulb style ones have a white channel? No, I don't think.
No, they are not available with a white channel, which is really sad actually. But the white on them looks a bit better than the on the 12s in my opinion because of the diffuser. So you can use them for just white, but there are none available with a separate white channel.
Dad, is this charging?
I think it's fully charged, baby. You can take it.
Because we're playing Christmas music in Zoe's room. That's why we wanted to.
Awesome. It snowed here today. It snowed in October. So the kids are playing Christmas music.
Gotta get in the mood early.
Yes, they see snow, they're like, oh, it's Christmas. Do you have to level shift your data pin on 12-volt strips?
It's the same as with 5 volts. You might get away without it. You might have to do it. It all depends on the manufacturer of the LEDs, on your cable, on your controller. I can't say it in advance. You have to try it out yourself, and if it doesn't work, you probably need a level shifter.
Yeah. If the voltage leaving the Node MCU or the D1 Mini is still going to be, max out at 3.3, right? So
Yes.
So even if your LEDs are happy to receive 12 volts and do what they need to with it, the dip that you may experience between your Node MCU and your first LED won't change if your LEDs are 12 volts or not, because your Node MCU is only going to be able to send 3 volts out of that data pin no matter what. So nope, no change probably would be the best. Snow yesterday. Let's see. Any news on easy adding of segment sections? It's coming up.
Yes.
Right? People come and go in the stream, so we answer the same questions a couple times. But
everyone wants that feature.
If we can get him off the stream and let him do some work.
What is your blue speakers names?
Well, I've got that time right now, so I won't do any more work on WLED today either, because it's already the evening. But tomorrow I will resume working on it, so then we can see some progress soon.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Is there any bulb style with a white channel?
Not that I know of. No. You could make your own, of course. Just stuff some 2812s inside a diffused bulb, and there you go. But other than that, I have no idea.
Yeah. Let's see. Paul is asking a question. I think I see the second half of the question. When I leave it at the default, LEDs are 4-channel type RGBW in the color order GRB. LEDs come up with rainbow color even though FX mode is solid. Anyone else notice this?
Oh, if that happens, then you have probably selected the wrong LED type. It can happen if you have RGBW selected even though the LEDs are only RGB, or if you have RGB selected even though the LEDs are RGBW. So make sure that's set correctly, and that shouldn't happen anymore.
Does that help, Paul? Okay, AirCoookie, it is still Hacktoberfest. Anything the community contribute as an easy step into the project? If we can make it so contributing to AirCookie's GitHub earns us Hacktoberfest credit, I'll do it, because I can do that. I can add some document stuff to that. Anything that the community can do to help you?
Documentation is always a good idea, because it takes a lot of time to create documentation, and that time could be spent creating code. But good documentation is also really important, because you guys need to be able to use the software, and so you need to know how it works. But also on the whole MQTT and home automation side of things, I don't have a lot to do with it, so I'm not really sure how to implement integrations for that. So if you have a favorite home automation software and you would like to make an integration with WLED using one of the APIs, then that would be a really nice way to contribute, because you would be expanding the amount of stuff that's possible with WLED.
There you go, guys. We've been commissioned. All right, let's. I'm gonna start my AirCoookie. Did I send you your stickers yet?
Yeah, I got them.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm gonna start this as the first step in winding down. Stickers for today. I don't even know what the date is. 27. Okay. Stickers 27. Okay. There we go. And then everybody needs to remind me. We can do it right now. Let's set up the next time that we're going to stream here. I always forget to do this, and then people go looking for when's the next stream? When's the next stream? And like this morning, I think I updated it like an hour before we went live. So it's like, I gotta be better about doing that. So it'll be next week, next Sunday. So what's next Sunday gonna be? Like October 3rd, maybe, something like that.
October 3rd, so you're going to the past? More like November 3rd.
Thank you. Okay, November 3rd. That's why I like talking to people from Australia, because they live in the future. Not that you're from
I also live
Australia,
in the future.
You do. You do live in the future, but it's fun to talk to those guys when it's tomorrow. That's just as fun.
Yeah.
But I guess it's that way for you too. I just am never up. You guys are never up. Okay. And we'll probably do about the same time. Okay. All right. So we did that. Great. Great. All right. Well, we're going to keep doing questions. We'll probably do another maybe 10, 15 minutes. So bring them on. That's just going to be everybody. What's your time zone? He's in Germany. So what is that time zone?
That's actually Central European time. We just had the shift from daylight saving time to regular time like today, so it's all a bit confusing. But
yeah, I wish we would stop doing that.
Yeah, me
so
too.
What is that? So is that like GMT +1 or something? Or
I
is it
believe
right
we
at
are now
GMT?
on GMT +1 while we were on +2 yesterday, but I'm not actually sure, but it's somewhere in that range.
Josh, here's Josh. See, Josh is already in Monday. See, he's already showered, had breakfast. He's on his way to work.
Yeah.
He lives in the future. We need those lottery numbers, Josh. Send them this way. Time travel doesn't exist. All right, let's see. I did see something else that somebody was asking. His time zone, no. Oh, in New York. So TJ in NY Smart Home. Anybody in New York? I'm going to be in New York in, I think it's February or March with some free time. So we should try and do something. If we just like meet at Grand Central Station and have a bagel or something. I don't know, but I'll be there for an event for the kids next spring. That'd be fun. Have you been to the States ever, Christian?
No, I haven't been, but I would love to visit.
Yeah.
And I would also love to go to Japan. Is here anyone watching from Japan? I really love the Japanese culture, and I'm actually actively learning Japanese at the moment.
Oh, awesome.
So that's a lot of fun.
Awesome. You know, we haven't had, we used to have a couple guys that were Japanese. I don't know that they were living there, but I haven't seen them in a while. Stream in the bagel eating vent. Is there any way we could create a custom loop animation? Maybe some kind of scripting for WLED?
Scripting. I think you mean that you can set different effects similar to how the preset cycle works right now, but you will also be able to specify the time each effect stays on and such. That is the so-called playlists feature, and I will also add that soon after I've added segments and presets. And maybe that is what you mean. Maybe what you mean is creating custom effects. That is already possible in the library, but you have to add those effects yourself.
You know, maybe what you mean. Oh, custom looping animation. Okay, I was gonna say maybe that's an X-Lights kind of a level of thing, but not if he's just talking about looping.
Yeah,
effects.
X-Lights. That's also possible. Just use an external controller and hook it up to WLED using UDP or E131. That will always work.
What is this? Somebody said, check out Twinkly. Have you heard of this? What is this? I don't know what this is.
No, I haven't heard of that. Looks interesting.
Light up the world, getting increasingly popular across the globe. Every day, thousands of users map their lights to decorate their space. Have you tried mapping your Twinkly? Oh, cool. So this, you tell them, what is this? Twinkly is the next generation connected LED light strings. Oh, okay. So this is a controller. Oh, okay. This is somebody else's controller and app.
That actually looks quite awesome.
And it somehow all could be interconnected, I guess.
Is this open source? I don't think so,
Doesn't
actually.
think so.
But
Well, there you
but
go.
it does look cool. But most of these effects will also be available in WLED. So, but they do actually sell something like curtains or nets here. I see. And of course the Christmas tree lighting, but you can do that yourself with WS2811s.
That is some tremendous number of lights on those trees. Goodness.
Yes.
And Mark's asking about exporting and importing configs. So he is working on being able to do that, right? We were talking about that early on about being able to export and import presets and things.
Yes, you will be able
My
to
phone? I don't
export
even have my
JSON
phone,
files of the presets and settings and also segments maybe. Have to see about that. But you can just download the file to your computer, upload it to another WLED, upload it to the same if you want to restore it. That will all be possible soon.
Is that ours?
No, I don't have my phone with me, baby. I'm
Where-
sorry. I don't know where it is.
who has it?
Somebody, I don't know who has it. I don't have it. Somebody took it. They're trying to listen to
I
music.
have
and
it.
there it is. It's in Germany. Darn it. Okay, let's see. I saw something else. TJ. Oh, okay, cool. These guys are planning a meetup in New York. Nice. He says, I don't know. I have no idea how to do this, but I'm free for dinner. Twinkly takes pictures of your tree with the lights and then sequences them. Oh, interesting. Where do I join for stickers? You just type ! enter and you will be in the sticker contest. And then somebody did ask about my bug, and the bug. Oh, here's good news and bad news. Ready? So I don't know if Christian, we haven't chatted about this with you, but I'm an electric car enthusiast as well. And I have a 1970 Volkswagen Bug, and I'm converting it to electric. But I'm trying to do it like super DIY, like open source controller, forklift motor out of a junkyard, like doing it myself instead of buying a lot of pre-built expensive parts. And so I was having an issue with coupling the gears together, and I here's what happened. I got to the point where I was ready to cut the transmission shaft to mate them together. And I thought, a smart person would, at this point, make sure that this forklift motor that I got out of a junkyard actually works before I destroy my transmission just to mate it with this particular motor. And it wouldn't work. So right now my motor, it won't spin. And I'm not sure exactly why. I need to still pull it apart and tinker with it a little bit, but that's the bad news. The good news is that means that I'm going to go ahead and start working on the cosmetic parts of it as well, which I've been putting off until I could get the drivetrain stuff resolved. But now that motor's not working, I think the drivetrain stuff's going to be delayed a bit longer. So instead I get to start working on making it cool. And one of the things I'm going to do, and I did this, I worked on it yesterday. I took the tail lights, the turn signal lights off. I'm not going for like the original look here. I'm going for just something fun that I think is cool. But I want to put little LEDs in the little holes where the wires used to go through to the tail lights. I just want to put bright orange and bright red LEDs in there, and then some, even some like Knight Rider stuff like across the window, just to go back and forth like that. So maybe. Anyways, so there's the update.
Just put WLED in it. And talking about electric cars, I love that project you have. Converting a bug yourself. That sounds so amazing. Great project. Wish you best of luck with that. I'm also quite an electric car enthusiast. Actually, our family has just purchased an electric Volkswagen car, and it will get delivered soon. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, did you get one of the new ones? What do they call them? ID3 or something? Is that what you got?
No, that one not yet. The previous generation, the normal Volkswagen e-Golf. But that one's amazing as
e-Golf.
well.
E-Golf. Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't really have electric. Volkswagen doesn't have anything electric here. Maybe they do in California because everybody in California, everybody who sells cars in California has to have some number of zero emission cars. I can't remember what the number is, and I don't live there, but but yeah, the ones you see here, you see the Leaf, you see the Chevy Bolt and the Volt, and lots of Tesla, and a few BMW, but you don't see I was really excited about the new Volkswagen ones. Mark says, just put LEDs to cover the entire car. Yeah, sure. Why not?
All the way around and at least 10 times.
At least 10 times. That's right. At least 10 times. I'll totally put WLED. And you know what I'll do is because the way he's got it set up to work as an AP mode as well, you don't have to have like a router and Wi-Fi and all that stuff. You just, right? I mean, I can just go to connect to a Wi-Fi network on my phone and it'll see the WLED. I'll connect to that and then I can control it right there in the car. So
yeah, sure. And also with WLED 086, it will auto reconnect, so you can connect it to your home network. And if you drive away, it will open the access point and you control it via that. And then if you come back home, it will reconnect to your normal Wi-Fi.
Done. Sold. Perfect. And then somebody's asking again about the auto reactive. No, but there's a project. If you look at Christian's GitHub page again, somehow I managed to go away from it. But if you look at his GitHub page, he has a audio reactive LED strip, and this is a fork of a different software. And then you can run this. Here's the instructions. You run this on a computer, and then you run WLED on your Node MCU or whatever, and the computer will be the thing that's listening with the microphone, and it will be telling WLED what to do. Is that accurate? Is that a fair way to
that's how it works.
That? Yeah. So there you go. Is WLED audio reactive? Sort of. with a little bit of help from a friend. Yes, it is. Let's see. And then, Salty Automation. Hey man, how you been? Lots of e-golfs in California. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I figured it. Everybody's got to. That was an interesting law they made. They did that a long time ago. It's been several years that they said, if you want to sell cars in California, a certain percentage of all the cars you sell have to be zero emission cars. And so there's models of electric cars in California that we don't have anyplace else in the state or anyplace else in the United States, because they're not a mass production kind of thing. They probably don't make a lot of profit on them. So they don't really pass them around the country. At least they haven't been for years. Maybe they're going to start doing some more of it. But the link to buy AirCoookie a coffee, you betcha. Let's get that back out there again. Is it on this repo too, or just the one? It's
in the very bottom of the README, only for the ones who read the entire README and who really love my project.
You have to read the whole README. I saw it here. Where did it go?
In the normal WLED repo, not in the audio reactive strip one. And no, in the bottom of the README, not in the Wiki.
Oh, there it is. It's pretty easy though. I don't know why. Maybe that. Oh, you mean I sent that $100 to AirCoookie with 2 O's? Oh no.
Oh. Well, that won't happen with the link.
There you go. It's AirCoookie with 3 O's. I'll have to change the title of the video, but the thumbnail I can't change. Did I have it in the thumbnail? I think I might have had it in the thumbnail. I'll have to change that too. I can change that eventually. All right, a couple more questions. Is there a scroll bar in the iPhone app or the web app for the effects? Yeah, there is, right? When you go to, when you look at this, there's this scroll bar for the effects.
Yeah, there actually should be the effects in a separate little window where you can scroll it, and you won't have to scroll the entire UI back up if you just want to scroll the effects list. Same for the palettes.
I like this. You said you were doing a new UI. Is it much different than this, or is it? more or less
No,
the
it's
same? I'm sure
basically
it's only
just
better.
visual rework. I want to make it tabbed, so like you can switch between colors and effects quicker and don't have to always scroll the entire page. And it will lead to a better experience on both PC and mobile.
Oh, right, I got it. And these guys are saying the bar doesn't actually appear. You just have to scroll it with your finger in iOS anyways.
Yeah, that's true. In Android, it's the same.
Cool. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's see. I have some I2C LEDs. Can WLED use these? For
I2C, I believe he means the APA 102 ones. Those are also supported recently. You have to enable them in the NPB wrapper file or use the supplied binary for that.
All right. Okay, let's do, how can you see how much downloads WLED has? Is that listed on here at all?
I actually can't. I can only see the page visits on my GitHub, but the actual download count I have no clue of. But
There must be a
considering
way.
I already got 630 stars, thank you everyone. I guess I have quite a lot of users.
You sure do. Well, we're gonna have to have you back on. I think we're gonna let's do. We'll give us a month or so to kind of, you get some new features and do some things, and let all of us that are just learning this get our sink our teeth into some things. But then I'd love to have you join me again for another stream like this in a couple months, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, sure. Looking forward to it. And then I'll have more features to show.
That would be fun. All right, let's do this. Let's do the let's get the kids up here to do the thing to end off. Where did I put this? So this should be working now. Yes.
It's time for sign off. It's time for sign off. It's time for sign off.
6:31 now. Woodcat just hit a star for you. Oh, you're just playing.
By the way, Michael, I just received your donation. Thank you so much.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we super appreciate what you do, Christian. I mean, you have done some amazing work. And so you said you started working on this in 2015, right?
Yes, the first
So you
version
were-
was in 2015, but the first version for ESP was 2016.
2006. But even then, you were like 16, 17 years old when you started doing it.
Yes.
Because for any of you that missed it at the beginning, Christian here is 20. He's 20. He's studying. Is it college technically at that?
Yes, it's called
guess-
Intelligent Systems Design. That's what my study course is called.
That's your major or whatever. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, bachelor
Well,
degree.
I think you've probably already accomplished more than what
It said Grace.
most. What?
It said Grace.
Oh, it said Grace. Okay, so that means you get to pick first.
Yay.
Anyways, I was just going to say you probably accomplished already more than most
are
people who
those
have
blank
graduated
ones?
from a program like that has.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do, this is how I do the sticker giveaway you've seen when you were on before. Go ahead, baby. Click that drum roll. Okay. And the winner is Don Puckett. Don Puckett, congratulations. Send me your address ASAP in Discord. Everybody's names seem familiar to me. If you've won before, that's okay. You can win again. But everybody's names seem familiar. For some reason, Don Puckett seems familiar to me. But anyway, send me your address in Discord ASAP so I can get some stickers to you. Zoe's going second? All right, baby. Scott Snow. Now that's somebody I don't think has won before. So congratulations, Scott Snow. Send me your address in Discord, and I will get.
And it's snowing.
And is it still snowing? Oh, it's snowing outside. I got you. All right. Okay. We're gonna end that. Excellent. Okay. How do you want to do sign off, babies?
Like
normal.
No,
Normal
as
sounds
Halloween. As
Spooky,
Halloween.
like Halloween? Okay. Spooky Halloween. Oh, like ghosts. Okay, that sounds fun. All right, you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time. Adios. They're a lot of fun. Okay, good. Oh, Christian, thank you again for being here.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Also, just another thanks to Effektmeister. Thanks for your donation.
They're going to keep rolling in. They're going to keep rolling in. I'll shoot you mine here in a minute as well. Okay.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay. Have a great Sunday. Thanks for being here, everybody. Adios.